because your vehicle is showing as stolen.
Now that right there is body camera video that you're seeing first on 2 and only here on Channel 2. A woman stopped at gunpoint in the driveway of her home by an Amherst police officer.
The reason why? A clerical error by Buffalo Police. Good evening, everyone. I'm Mary Alice Demler.
And I'm Scott Levin. This incident happened on May 31st, and it played out over a police scanner that one of our assignment editors here at Channel 2 was listening to.
Our Nate Benson investigated further, and it's already led to changes within the Buffalo Police Department. Tonight, he reports on those changes and hears from the woman at the center of it all in this 2 on Your Side original.
Get back in the vehicle, it's showing as stolen.
As Courtney Heitzman pulled into her driveway and got out of her Kia Optima on Friday, May 31st, she turned and saw an Amherst police officer behind her.
Radio, I got the driver at gunpoint.
A few seconds later, Courtney's daughter runs to the door to see what the commotion is all about.
Just stay in the house, please.
Stay in the house, please. Stay in the house.
In a panic, Courtney called her mother.
Mom, there's a cop. He's got a gun and he's pointing it at me. A cop!
To understand how Courtney found herself in this situation, we have to go back to May 10th, when her Kia was
stolen while I was at work in the city of Buffalo.
Courtney reported it to the Buffalo Police.
4 hours after the time of the call, another set of officers or another district officers wound up getting an abandoned vehicle call and recovered this car.
Recovered before it could be entered into the state system as stolen.
Is this a situation where a car was stolen, abandoned, recovered, and put into an impound lot just simply before the paperwork could be done?
That appears to be the situation before the entries could be made.
Later that night, not realizing it had already been recovered, Buffalo Police entered Courtney's vehicle as stolen into the New York statewide police information network. So in the eyes of every police department in the state, Courtney's car was still considered stolen. The vehicle was eventually towed to a repair shop, and Courtney got it back on May 29th. It was during her drive home on May 31st when she drove past an Amherst police officer on Sweet Home Road.
His license plate reader in his vehicle indicated that there was a stolen vehicle that he'd passed.
Amherst Police Chief Scott Chamberlain says the officer then swung around and began following Courtney.
He sped up really close and there were no lights. I wasn't sure if I should pull over or not, and I was so close to home, I just continued to drive home. I figured lights would come on if I was getting pulled over.
By the time that all that information was gathered, the vehicle had pulled into a driveway. The officer stopped, pulled up behind the vehicle and initiated a traffic stop.
Why are you pointing a gun at me?
I am not pointing a gun at you. I'm pointing a gun at the gun.
You did, though.
I did, yes, absolutely I did.
Why? Because I'm right in front. You see
Yes.
the car, it's registered to this
Okay,
house.
Courtney, just hang tight for a second.
No, this is not right. This is not
Come on,
right.
radio.
When you got out of your car and saw that a gun was drawn on you, what immediately went through your head?
I was gonna die. Like, I didn't know what the heck was going on. And this is a person that I've been told is supposed to keep me safe.
So when we have a stolen vehicle, what we do is called a felony car stop.
I understand. So you're
hold
gonna
on.
pull
let
a
me
gun
finish.
out in front of me, in
Yes,
front of my own home?
100%.
That's terrible.
Yes.
Looking back on it, how do you feel about the whole thing?
I don't feel good about it. I still don't feel good about it. I still never really got an explanation on why the gun was held on me for so long.
Every single cop across the country is taught to do that for stolen vehicles.
When a police officer tags, a vehicle comes up as stolen, they pull them over, that is standard operating procedure to conduct a felony traffic stop?
It depends on the situation, I would say. It's not, I wouldn't say every single time. If they gather enough information to know that it's not stolen, then maybe they wouldn't do a felony car stop.
There's something about this isn't right. And someone needs to explain it to me.
This is negligence on the end of the Buffalo Police Department, okay? I apologize for that. Your vehicle will be removed as stolen so that you can drive it without getting pulled out at gunpoint, okay?
Since this incident happened, changes have been made.
In our conversations over the last month, you've already kind of put that checks and balance in place, right?
I think within probably a day or two of you contacting me, I put that into place with parking. The one thing that I asked them to do as one more fail-safe is to run the license plate of any vehicle before it is released to ensure that it has not been reported stolen by any agency.
Has there been any direct changes to response or policy on Amherst side of things with this?
Yeah, there's nothing on our end that we could have changed about the situation, and we don't have the same type of system as far as, impound lots and all that stuff.
But for Courtney Heitzman, the experience has left a lingering sense of uneasiness.
It just felt like in that moment that I wasn't a human, that this traumatic experience happened, but oh well, it's another day at the office for me. See you later, bye. You know, that's not right.
You know, we certainly apologize that she went through a traumatic incident.
Is there anything that the department has to say to this woman regarding the situation?
There's a human element to all these things, and we're always trying to make sure our officers are aware of both sides of any situation.
Even though Buffalo Police created a checks and balance if your vehicle is recovered, Commissioner Gramalia said it's always best to double check with the department to make sure your vehicle has been removed from that state system. Scott and Mary Alice?
There's so many takeaways with
Yeah.
this story, so many lessons that sadly Courtney had to experience firsthand. But in the internet age, when updates are made, I mean, in a blink, to think that this is still a problem, a paperwork problem.
Yeah, it's one of those instances where the vehicle was stolen on May 10th on a Friday. Things happen on a Friday, officer gets busy doing something else, doesn't necessarily file his paperwork as quickly as maybe the commissioner would like, and that's where you see this very rare circumstance.
Human beings, I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now, what happened, no doubt, was traumatizing for Courtney. It would be for any of us having a gun pointed at us, especially for a couple of minutes. How is she doing tonight?
You know, as you can see in the story, she's still struggling. I spoke to her about a month and a half after the incident, and it took her that long to, you know, seek out some help she needed for this circumstance. But really, at the end of the day, she said she's still not safe driving that vehicle and doesn't really feel safe in her neighborhood.
I can understand it.
Yeah, certainly
traumatizing.
feel for her. But a fascinating story, and glad that you tracked down all the parts of it. A lot of moving pieces with this one. Great
Absolutely.
work.
Thanks, Nate.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, well.